let's face it, we can't pick who it is that we are born to. See, animals learn really early that the parent is there to teach them how to survive. We're supposed to hunt, we are supposed to find shelter, and we're going to survive through those bitter storms. That's the least that we as children expect from our parents. And my mother and father were very good about giving that. The thing is that survival is not the same thing as thriving. My mother, she believed that she was a really good cook. She wasn't. She cooked a meatloaf that took us a little while to gnaw on. She'd sometimes get a bit distracted playing her single-person cards at the kitchen table, and then we would be subjected to this lump of meat that was set into the middle of the table. Well, she was my only example of cooking, so of course when my husband married me, he thought I knew how to cook. Well, I did. I just cooked like my mother and not Julia Child. The meatloaf that I cooked for him, I put in the oven for 450 degrees, and I let it cook thoroughly for about 3 hours. I clunked the meat in the middle of the table with some overdone peas and some powdered mashed potatoes, if I remember correctly. I had a huge bottle of Heinz ketchup that went along with the meal because that was my favorite condiment. My husband started sawing into the meatloaf with kind of a sickly look on his face, and then he had the nerve to tell me that I had burnt dinner. It was not burnt. It was perfect. He cooked it the next night for me, and I was appalled. I could actually just put my fork down through the meatloaf, and I pushed the meat away from me. I fully thought that he was trying to poison me. It's amazing how quickly a marriage can go awry. After that, my husband decided that maybe perhaps he'd give me another chance. So he said, "Why don't you cook breakfast for me?" So I did. I cooked my mother's breakfast. I made pancakes from scratch. At this point, I battered it up. I had it all ready, and I cooked it on a skillet, and I made him a massive, large pancake because that's what a man needs. My husband was such a man. At 6'3", he's about 220 pounds, and he needed to go out and work the farm, work the land, and he needed this food. And I put this huge pancake in the middle of his plate because, see, that's what we got. We always got one big, massive pancake. And then there's that pound of butter off to the side, and then the big, nice bottle of actually maple syrup or blueberry syrup if we wanted to be a special day. My husband put the butter on, and then he put a small amount of syrup on it. It kind of sucked up. You know how water actually happens to hit the desert and it just kind of sucked up into the pancake? And my husband looked at that and he poured more and he poured more. He put a half a bottle of syrup into that pancake and it was still dry. And bless his heart, he ate a tenth of that pancake. He said there was enough flour and weight in that pancake for that one small section that it literally lasted him the entire day. And I did my job. See, I'm the woman. I made the meal, and my man could go out there and he could farm. I never cooked again. It's been 33 years. And I have to say, he's a little bit better at it than I am. I've never touched a skillet. And periodically, when I do my programs, he puts in a photograph of a new stove so I can keep on top of the kitchen technology. We can't pick our family members. Well, he actually did pick me as a wife, but he should have eaten my mother's cooking first before making his final decision.